Greetings, Planty friends. My name is Sade, and I'm coming back this month with a plant update video. So my first plant tour was last month in February, and now we're doing a March plant update. We've had some losses, we've had just some simple chores done, and then we have some new plants at the very end, which make me the most excited. And we also have a special guest today. One second. Bacon? Bacon! Here. Bacon here. Bacon up. Bacon. Come here. Bacon, let's go. Look. You don't want to look at the camera? Look. There we go. Say hi. Anyway, just wanted to introduce our special guest. So if you hear any snoring or grunting as we go through the plants, that's what's happening. Let's get started. We're going to go from worst updates to best updates. The worst thing that has ever happened to me, I think, as a plant mom is this. Oh, what are you doing showing us an empty pot? Well, I killed a plant. So last month for Valentine's Day, I got, I think it's called an English ivy from my husband, Selby. And everything was going great until like one day I just woke up and the plant was totally crisped. The plant was totally dead and I was like freaking out. First, I had denial. I was just like, there's no way the plant is dead. Like, it was fine yesterday. So I went to Reddit and I was like, you guys, is this plant just like a drama queen like other plants where it looks dead, but it's really not? And basically, they were like, nah, bruh, that's dead. That's a dead plant. And I was just like, I just had no idea how. I think I had it for 14 days. And I just never killed the plant so quickly. I'm kind of still confused as to what happened. Maybe it was like a watering issue, or maybe it just got burnt by the sun. Yeah, it's definitely gone, no longer with us. I tried to save it and like cut off all the dead parts and leave just some branches, and I thought maybe leaves would grow back on them, but it was just like getting mushy. I was like, I don't want any bugs to form on this thing, so yeah, I just threw it out. So that's the first update. Something really strange happened to this, what do you call this? Pretty sure it's a Christmas cactus. Right now we have 1, 2, 3 plants inside of this one pot. I went to water this one day, and the very next day, I was just checking on it again, and one of the plants just flopped out of the pot. It just like fell out. To be honest, it freaked me out. I was like really creeped out because it was disgusting. I was not expecting like this mushy plant to just like fall to the ground when I picked it up, and I kind of just wanted to throw the whole plant away, but so far the rest are okay. So I'm going to keep it. Maybe it got overwatered. I'm not really sure what happened. So I was thinking about taking a photo of it just so I could have it for documentation, but it was so gross. I just didn't even want to see it ever again in my life. So I just threw that part out and I kept the plant. So my next plant update has to do with this Vicus Taniki Elastica. Last month it was 1. I was talking about whether I wanted to cut it in half or not, and I obviously did. I chose to cut this plant because there was so many damaged leaves on it. I went ahead and cut it. This is the mama plant. She's already starting to put out some new growth. This is the part that I cut off. I'm just propagating it so that it can get some roots. There are roots starting to grow here. So I think that right there, that white spot is a root starting to come out. Now I'm gonna move on to just like plant chores that I did over this last month. This is a golden pothos, and I'm just highlighting this plant because I potted her up in this terracotta pot from Cuttings. I think this looks so cute. Like, it just looks so adorable. She's rocking it. She's so cute. So yeah, my next plant update has to do with this beautiful girl. She looks different from last month because I built her. I built her a trellis. You can call me Architect Sade. you know, woman of many hats, many hobbies. I used like one super long bamboo stick. I cut it into 3 pieces for this part that adds some structural support, you know. These are chopsticks. Chopsticks and then bamboo to add to this beautiful plant. So now she has something to climb up, which I hear makes Hoya really happy because in nature they climb up toward the sun. Now she has something to climb up, and to be honest, she's putting out new growth. I'm not saying it's because of my trellis, but I think the combination of the trellis and spring being here is finally allowing her to put out some new growth. This is a container I found at the Goodwill. So you see this like bamboo color wood, and then when you put the bamboo trellis in, it makes me feel most like an interior designer. This is the best interior design thing I have ever done in my life. This is a satin pothos. This trellis I just bought from Amazon, and it was actually supposed to be for the Hoya, but it just didn't fit in that pot, but it fit in this pot, so I put it in here. This plant also likes to climb. Most of the vining plants like to climb. Climbing allows them to get bigger leaves. And let me tell you, you guys, she's loving life. There's so much new growth. So we got some new growth here, there. The only thing about this trellis is that the base here is not all the way down in the pot, so it kind of moves around. One day it's gonna cover this entire thing, and I'm gonna be one happy girl. Next, we're going to talk about this Pailia Glauca. In the last video, I mentioned how she just never looked really happy. I didn't know what to do with her, but I think I figured it out because she's just looking much better. I don't know if you can see how pink these vines are, but they weren't as vibrant and red. They were really brown and like dry looking. So what I did with this plant differently, I took her from a south-facing window. She was like right up on the windowsill. I took her out of the south window and I put her like a foot away from a west-facing window with a humidifier nearby, and she's just been looking much better. It's really the vines for me. The vines were never this red. They were like a dead looking brown. Also, I can tell she's doing better because when I first got her, if I did this, all these leaves were gone. I can touch her without losing, okay, now I'm getting crazy. I couldn't touch her without losing a lot of these like little beautiful leaves. But now I can shake her and there's literally not one on the ground. So yeah, she's popping out some baby leaves and I think I figured it out. So that's a good thing. Oh, I don't know if I mentioned, this is Alexis Rose from Schitt's Creek, and Alexis Rose is going to figure it out, okay? Like, she's gonna figure it out, so I'm glad that we figured it out together. So, moss poles, yay! I built moss poles for both my Monstera. This is my Monstera deliciosa, which, by the way, new growth, and new growth. I built this moss pole, these 2 moss poles for both my Monsteras out of bamboo and sphagnum moss. I kind of just gripped the sphagnum moss and wrapped some twine around it. Some people say they aren't cute, like they don't like the look of moss poles, but I think this is cute. It's so like natural looking. It feels like something that a plant would definitely want to climb up. The only thing is, the way that I did it, the sphagnum moss can get everywhere if you just bump the plant. So sometimes I see it on the plant. That's okay, I'm fine with it. I want to talk about this plant next. Last month I was talking about how poorly it was doing and how I didn't know if this money tree was going to make it. But I was listening to a YouTube video by Nick Alexander, his most recent YouTube video. And he was just talking about the different light requirements of plants and how trees are like trees in nature. They grow up toward the sun. They need a lot of sun. And I was just like, oh my God. This plant was struggling during the winter months because I had it in the furthest corner in my house away from any window. So it was like 10 to 11 feet away from any window. I feel so dumb for not putting that together. I knew that plants struggled in the winter, but I just didn't piece it together because no plants have struggled as much as this plant. But this is the plant that's furthest away from any window, and it's a tree. Like, it needs sun. And I actually have a story to like support that. Last summer, my neighbors out here that have balconies, she had her money tree out on the balcony, fully in the sun. That just goes to show me like, it just went over my head. I was like, it needed more sun. And guess what? Since we have more daylight, this plant has not dropped a single leaf. I just kind of feel like so silly for not recognizing that. I was just like, what's wrong with it? What's wrong with it? It just needed more sun. It has stopped dropping leaves. So now it lives in a west-facing window because I don't have any space by my south-facing window for it. I think in this west-facing window, right up on the sun, it'll be much more happy, and hopefully it'll grow back like all the leaves that it lost, because I'm telling you, it lost like 50% of its leaves. And you can see what side got hurt the hardest. This area right here was totally full. I don't know how I didn't see that, and I'm so sorry. I started doubting it. I was like, I'm gonna have to give it away. I thought it had pests, but it didn't. I was giving it showers. I was doing all this stuff, and it just needed more sun. It's a tree, it needs sun. But now I know, and I'm sorry that I treated you that way. I'm gonna do much better this year. So now we have the exciting stuff. We have some new plants. I do want to show one plant that I had last month, but it was in the ICU. It was in the intensive care unit because it was going through some things. And I didn't show it last month, so let me show it now. This is my aloe vera plant. I was going to say my poor aloe vera plant, but it's okay. This aloe vera plant got root rot twice. But when I first got it, it was thriving. I repotted it because it was root bound. It was like totally root bound, but I repotted it in like straight up miracle grow with no drainage, and it got root rot. So I ended up taking it out of the pot and kind of reviving it from root rot. And guess what? I repotted it when it felt better, and it got root rot a second time. And I said, oh my God, I must be a fool. I took it out a second time, and now I think it's going to be okay. I put it in terracotta finally, and then I put it in like half perlite, so you'll see like this soil is basically white, because I was like, I can't play with you. You need a well-draining soil. So this is basically all perlite. It's not all perlite. It's like 60-40, 60% perlite, 40% like soil. I think it's impossible for this soil to stay moist for too long, so we'll figure it out. So far so good. So now for the super exciting part, my new plants. I just graduated from PA school, and I wanted to reward myself obviously with plants. My go-tos are usually Plant Salon, Adams and Sons, and then City Escape in Chicago, but this is my first time going to Sunnyside Plants in Jefferson Park, and I got 3 plants, so let's show them. All of the plants that I got today were on my wish list. I'm kind of trying to stick to my wish list plants that I've seen before, so that I'm not just willy-nilly buying plants. So I did that today. I stuck to my wish list, and this is the first one. I was going for a Peperomia Frost. Super silvery, beautiful, very gorgeous Peperomia. I don't even like the regular peperomias. I just think they're ugly. I'm sorry. But this bacon is snorting away. Let's move on. This is a neon pothos. I mean, what more could I say? Like, it speaks for itself. Like, have you ever seen a plant that was neon green? I haven't. I was really happy when that plant shop had it, and I'm just in love. I think it's absolutely beautiful. It's super vibrant, and I don't have any plants that are this bright, so I wanted to add some brightness to my collection, so I went and got a neon pothos. Okay, one more. Can you tell I'm the most excited for this one? Oh my God. Okay, let me stop. The last plant that I picked up today is a Philodendron micans. I mean, this plant is so gorgeous. I was so happy when I saw that they have this in stock. I don't know if I've ever seen it in person. I have never seen a mycans in person, but as soon as I saw it, I recognized it because I've been looking at it online that much. This plant has been on my wish list. One of the main reasons is this plant is the first one that I've seen, I think, that has velvety leaves. I don't know if I'll be able to pick it up on the camera, but it's literally like velvet, like velvet. And it feels smooth like velvet too. Like it doesn't feel like a regular leaf. So it's like a deep green with like a reddish yellow sheer over it. And I think that this is pretty good how long these vines are. About as long as my forearms. It has like four super long vines. I'm just obsessed. One thing that I have not done as a plant mom is quarantine my new plants. And I'm starting to realize how important that is because pests are real and they usually come in on your new plants. So I'm gonna put these plants in the kitchen so that they can quarantine for like, I don't know, I think you should give it like 2 to 3 weeks. They're gonna stay in the kitchen for a few weeks until they're able to be amongst my other babies because we would hate for pests to spread to these other plants that I also love so much. I think that's it. I just wanted to say thank you to anybody who might be watching. I did do an official announcement of me posting my plants on YouTube. This is just basically, as you can see, me talking for way too long about plants. If you're still here, hope you like my new plants. Hope you learned something from my plant mistakes and hope that you just like the video in general. So yeah, that's going to be it for today. Bacon is ready to go. So I guess that means I am too. So bye, planty friends. See you in the next one.